Hey guys, welcome back to Hands On channel. Today we're going to take a look at this new power washer I just picked up. So let me get you pulled in here and we'll take a look at the SIMPSON 4400 PSI 4 gallon per minute professional pressure washer. It comes with a, I believe it's a Honda clone type of an engine, but it's branded by SIMPSON. It comes with everything you see here. I haven't purchased any accessories for it so far. Of course, I've got one of the tips in there, but you get a nice, trying to get out of the, quit making shadow there, but you get a nice professional quality gun there. It works really good. Haven't had any problem with that. It's a Win, I think it is. I put a little gas in it, put the oil in it like they recommended. You've got the AAA triplex or something like that, triplex pump, and so far I'm happy with it. It seems to pump out quite a bit of pressure. It came with the oil already installed in the pump there, and I'm gonna have to get into my service manual and figure out what the change intervals are on that, but you know, I would imagine at least once a season you probably want to change it out. And also the oil, you know, depending on how much you're running it, you may want to change that out. And one thing I've noticed, a little minor annoyance, not a big deal, but I've got a little minor drip right here on this fitting. It's brand new fitting, shouldn't drip. So I don't know if I've got an O-ring issue or what, but it's not leaking high pressure, it's just dripping like that. So probably not a big deal, probably to be expected on something like this, but maybe I could change the O-rings out. It comes with the little soap sucker here, and it has a port on the side so that you can hook that up and drop that little hose down into your whatever solution you want. But yeah, I just want to give you some close-ups of this. You can adjust the pressure down on this. So if 4400 PSI is too high for you, you can crank this down, and I'm not sure yet what the low pressure is. I plan on putting a pressure gauge in line somewhere one day so I can see how much pressure this thing actually cranks out. But the people online in the forums and on the reviews of this machine said it cranked out exactly what it said, 4400 PSI. So here's your carburetor over here, your spark plug for when you need to clean that and change it, your exhaust over here, air cleaner here. Pretty simple machine. You've got a throttle control here for turning this thing up and down. So if you don't want to have full 4400 PSI and you don't want to fool with the pressure valve back there in the back, you can just turn the engine idle down. You don't have to crank it all the way up. You've got a fuel shut off here. In fact, I'm going to turn that on so I don't forget here in a minute when I'm trying to start it. And you've got a choke. These aren't marked very well. I guess you're supposed to follow this little chart here. Whatever. I've already checked the gas and I've checked the oil and all that stuff. We're good on all that stuff. So the starting instructions say you want to give it a little bit of throttle. You don't have to go all the way to full throttle. And I believe choke is this way. I think you flip it this way and that's choke. And you kind of got to flip it off of choke pretty quickly. You'll see it vibrates quite a bit when I first start it up. But that's because it's choking. You've got an on-off switch here for quick shutdown. Get out of that shadow there. Pretty simple machine. You've got a drain plug on both sides. Of course, this one's the easier one to get to. So you've got pneumatic tires. They feel like a high quality, good tire. I haven't had any issues with that. The frame is nice and rigid. If anything, the only complaint I have about that is there's just a little bit of slop right here in this joint. Hopefully you can see that on the handle. But it's fine. That's not going to be a problem. If I really wanted to worry about it, I guess I could put some Gorilla Tape in there and then stick it back on or something. But I'm not worried about it. I'm not real sure what the point of this is, except for just to maybe give it some protection from things falling on top of it. I thought about trying to figure out a way, if I have any complaint about all of these type like this that are the wheelbarrow style, instead of a two-wheeler where the wheels would be in the back, the wheels are up front like a wheelbarrow, right? Well, the problem that I see with this is that when you're moving it around, all your stuff is back here, your hoses, your wand, everything. So you're kind of in a tiny little spot there with everything hooked up. So you almost have to unhook it to move it around, or be really careful about it because you don't want to break any of these fittings off or damage anything. So I don't really like that so much. If the handle was a little bit longer, maybe stuck out to about here, and I thought about trying to make this one work somehow, but I'd probably have to do some cutting and welding. to extend the handle out a little bit, just to get my feet away from this, because when you tip it up like this, now when you're walking, your feet are kicking here. And also, I love the wand holder. Right here is how it's supposed to hang, right? But when you tip the whole machine up, now since I have a hose on it, it's not going to do it. But when you tip the whole machine up, you can see the tip of the wand kind of goes down and gets close to the ground. And if I have any other complaints about this machine out of the box, and I should have measured this, but this wand here, the extension part of it, I'm guessing that's 36 inches long, and that sucker feels too long to me. I'd like to have one that's about like that long. And I know why they're doing it. It's because it's 4400 PSI, and they're worried that if you stick your hand in front of that, please, whatever you do, don't be a dummy like that. I actually worked with a guy one time, and I won't disclose his name because he had some hygienic problems that I had to constantly get on this guy about. Like, I was a supervisor, and I had to constantly get on this guy because he'd come into work smelling like sour milk and basically dirty underwear. Let's just put it as politely as I can. So I would have to constantly take this guy out to the back of the shop and say, hey, you're gonna have to go out and you know, get yourself cleaned up, and don't come back unless you can, you know, you've had a shower. And that was uncomfortable for me as a supervisor, but I'm sure it was uncomfortable for him as well. Well, one day this guy stuck the wand of the tip of the thing down inside of his boot, because he told me, what he told me was he was scratching an itch in there because his foot was itching or something, and he just decided to stick that wand inside of his steel toe boot and scratch it. You know, the steel toe boots were for safety. He bypassed the safety by putting the wand in there. Well, wouldn't you know it, he hit the trigger, and when he did, it blew high pressure underneath his skin in such a way that basically there was a big blister, a water blister underneath his skin, and we had to take him to the emergency room. And I had to look at his nasty ass foot. So it was quite a terrible, horrific day that I will never forget. And, you know, have good hygiene. Don't stick a power washer down your shoe or anywhere that your skin, because your skin is soft. You know, a power washer will cut right through it, so don't do that. Anyways, little mini rant over, and if you didn't know that, hopefully that helps you out in the future. But so far I really like this machine. It starts easy. I've heard some people complaining about that. If you read the instructions, it tells you to pull the trigger as you're pulling the pull cord, which is a little bit inconvenient, but it's not that big of a deal. You just pull this as you pull the pull cord. That way no pressure is building up inside of the pump. You see, what's going on is this is a really powerful pump. So to create that kind of power, the engine is loading up if you don't squeeze the trigger. So you got to squeeze the trigger, and that'll make it a lot easier to start. It'll make your pull cord last a lot longer. Everything about the machine, you'll like it a lot better because it'll fire right up real easy. So I'm going to quit talking about all this stuff, and I'm going to set you down here to where you can see the starting process, and then we're going to get to doing a little power washing, because the back of my house is mighty gritty and moldy. Hopefully the camera's picking this up, but you can just see there's quite a bit of you know, this kind of stuff, just dirt where it's collected there, and mold and stuff. There's a little spot of mold there. So what we're going to do is hit this with a light bleach solution. I'm going to start out light. Hopefully I don't, you know, because I've got my wife's plants back here and such, and but yeah, we've got mold up around here too, so we're going to hit all of this with the bleach solution first, and come back through with the power washer and clean it off the best we can. This is where the bugs all hang out and poop all over the wall. Hopefully the GoPro's picking that up. All right, let's get going. everything soaped down. We're going to let that dwell for about 10 to 15 minutes, and hopefully it'll cut through all that algae and mold and such. We'll power wash it off, but so far it dispensed soap just perfectly. If anything, I was thinking I might want to put a find me a little ball valve that I could stick in this line. That way I could reduce how much was going in there so it wouldn't go through it so fast. It puts down quite a lot of soap, so I may next time want to dilute it down with a little bit more water. But we'll find out how the Simpson 4400 does. So far, so good. Alright guys, let's take a look at the end result here. It did an incredible job. Look how clean that is compared. This is the same area that I was before. Now there's just a slight bit of dinginess in there that, you know, I could probably get a scrub brush and scrub that out and hit it with a stronger concentration of bleach, but honestly it's so much cleaner you don't even notice it. I mean, excellent. One thing you will want to be careful about is I actually got underneath basically under the paint here and got underneath the nail head, and I had to put a little caulk in there. I'm going to come back in and caulk that up smooth and then dab a little paint over it. This is my house, so I'm not that worried about it, but if you were out doing a customer's job or something like that, you definitely want to be careful about that, not blast their paint off. They're obviously hiring you to clean their house, not strip the paint off. Now, you could strip paint with it if you were so inclined, but look at this concrete. I mean, just incredible. So, all right guys, that's going to wrap the video. If you don't mind, if you enjoyed this video and are interested in the Simpson 4400 PowerShot pressure washer, please ask any questions. I'll try to answer them down in the comments to the best of my abilities. I'm not an expert on it. I've only just got the thing, but I have used other power washers in the past. So, all right, appreciate you tuning in, guys. I'm going to go enjoy this beautiful day, and I've got a whole shop building to power wash. So if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up. And until then, we'll see you next time.